Michael, just about last night, you slept on it. What are your thoughts on how it went?
Yeah, the sleep didn't make us feel any better waking up this morning, to be honest. I think mixed feelings in terms of disappointed with the game and taking what we can from it and having to do things better without doubt. But at the same time, we're going Saturday and it's quick and we've got to prepare and we've got to move our heads towards that, and we've got to take the things from the game that we need to develop, and that'll help us on Saturday to put in a better performance and hopefully get a better result.
Through various reasons, some out of your control, it's quite a reset through January and different players and different personnel in the team. You haven't got that long, but how long does it take to get that to work, to get everyone on the same page?
No, I'd like to think it'll work straight away. I think that's not an excuse for the result. I think I said before the game I was happy with the group and we had a good week's training. Yeah, it just turned out it wasn't a good night for us for part of the performance and obviously the result in the end. You know, to be in the game and to lose it towards the end again is massively disappointing for us.
So Watford on Saturday, it's just another example of how there's no easy games in this division. They're a very capable team, but they've not had some good results in recent times. So nobody's going to take that as an easy game, are they?
That's definitely not. I think they're very similar to ourselves and the kind of the spell they're at and the run of form. I think being a bit higher in the league at times and not had the results of late that both of us would have liked for each other. So yeah, very capable, got some fantastic players, similar to ourselves, you know, so it's who can put it together on the day, and that's up to us to find that way.
Results through the week moved you down to 9th. I realise that's a bit misleading because you've got a game in hand on basically everyone up at the top end of the table, but how are you sort of feeling about the situation? Are you disappointed with where you are at the moment?
I think we're disappointed with we're definitely disappointed with what's happened lately and the amount of points we've gathered or managed to not gather really. So yeah, there's definitely disappointment there. But then we can't let that, certainly from my perspective and the players' perspective, we can't let that affect us going into the next game, you know. And yeah, of course, it's easier when you're winning games and you can roll into the next game and you don't have to think too much about it and you can prepare and you're ready and you're flying. Certainly, it does make things a little bit easier, but it doesn't change how we approach the next game. You know, we got to be positive. We've got to have that belief. We have the boys. They've came in this morning. They've accepted things, and we're ready to move on. And they're as disappointed as anyone could possibly be with the way we've been lately. And yeah, it's up to us to find a way. But Saturday is a perfect opportunity for that.
I know, obviously, you still believe in the project. Of course you do, but do you believe that team is better than the position it's in at the minute?
Potentially, yeah, but it's you are where you are at the end of the season, and that the reasons for whatever's gone on is ultimately, for me, I think it tells the truth. So it's there's a bit to go in that in the story yet. It's not over yet. It's by no means over yet. There's a good spell of the season still to go. So and we know how that can change quite quickly. We've seen it recently with teams and going on runs. We've done it at times. So this is not the end of the story. We need to certainly make it a better ending towards the end of the season than it has. But this is not the end at this stage.
And I know it's almost a cliche to say like home crowd, everyone on the same page, but that's what you need at the moment, isn't it? Especially on Saturday. Yeah,
of course. Listen, I understand the disappointment and the frustration of supporters because they want results and they expect results and they come to watch winning teams and exciting football and goals, and I understand that. The boys are giving everything they can at the moment in terms of effort and attitude. We need to find better ways. I need to find better ways alongside them, and you know, we ask the supporters to be right behind us, you know, because the intentions are there. Certainly from all of us, and when we care deeply about it, and we're hugely motivated now more than ever, to be honest, to try and put this thing that we've got going onto the right track and into a positive manner. We need the supporters with us to be able to do that.
Mike, when you suffer individual errors and are mainly to points being dropped, how do you respond from a coaching point of view, or are you actually quite limited in what you can do because it is literally just down to the individual in that moment?
Yeah, it's something we have suffered from at times of moments when you look back at some of the goals we've conceded, and yeah, that's the challenge from a coaching point of view. You know, it's on my shoulders. I accept the responsibility. You know, for every little mistake, it's on me. I take that, whether that's a structural thing, a tactical thing, an individual thing. If we win and someone tells me well done, it's on me. If we don't and we concede goals or for whatever reason, it's on me. So I'm there to help the boys as much as I can and give them advice and guidance and prepare them for the next game. So it can be frustrating, it's disappointment, but the other side of it is what can we do about it, and that's my task at the moment.
Well, yeah, and just you mentioned briefly, is the mood still quite calm in camp despite the recent losses?
I think there's a calmness, but that's not a feeling of just accepting now everything will be okay. I think we understand we have to do something about it. We got to act on it. The boys who came in today, as I've said, and you know, they're deeply disappointed and want to do better and are keen to do better. So there's when I say there's a calmness, I think we're trying to, and we're doing everything we can to think clearly, because I think it's important you take a balanced view and judge it in the right manner. When you're going through these spells, and the boys will be in a good frame of mind going into the game on Saturday.
Obviously, you want to go on Saturday. You want to get back to winning ways. Are you likely to change anything at all in terms of your set-up or preparation, or could you actually overthink it by doing that?
That's the ultimate decision for us. You know, of looking at how we've done, what it looks like, little bits within the game that we can do something about and tweaking. What I'm going to change, if I'm going to change, obviously we'll see come Saturday. But it's we've got players to adapt and be flexible, so it's something we're constantly looking at.
How do you maintain your cutting edge? Because obviously your attack's been one of the best in the division this year, while stemming the bleeding at the other end. How does that happen? How do you balance that? We have to. You know, that's the name of the game of outscoring, and whether that is keeping clean sheets. Ideally it's keeping clean sheets, and we've had certain times during the season we've been able to do that, but nowhere near enough lately, especially. And there's balance, there's things within games, there's positioning, there's individual things you can do to prevent that. Decision making is a big part of that as well, and helping the boys with that in the right moment. Is there a danger this game can be built up? This particular game, Watford, can be built up too big in the eyes of us, the fans?
Depends how big you make it, really. I think it's a big game, right? It's a big game. We know that they're going, as I said, Tom and his players have gone through a very similar situation to ourselves in terms of where they want to be, where they have been at periods in the season, and where this game now, where we'll find ourselves at this point. So it's an important game for sure. It's not going to decide the ultimate kind of end of season scenario, but it's going to have a say towards it, and we're totally aware of the importance of the game.
I think a few weeks ago you told me that, you know, pressure's not winning football games, but has that changed at all in the last few weeks? Are you feeling a degree more pressure on your shoulders?
No, I think the pressure, as you call it, it certainly comes from me, you know, myself. Of wanting to do well, wanting to be as best as I possibly can, and the responsibility of then leading the team through that and helping us through it. So when the easy times are when you're winning, you know, it's a lot easier. When you've got to find ways, then it's a bit more challenging. But that's when you kind of find yourself, see what you're all about, see what the players are all about, and that's where we're at now. And I got full trust in the players, and you know, we're fighting to achieve something, which, yeah, there's an element of expectation and pressure with that should be there. If you're trying to achieve something, it should be there. That's why it makes it worthwhile if you can get there. So it's but we got to embrace the challenge. You know, we know where we're at, we know the situation, we're fully aware of what's at stake. We'll give it everything we got.
Thank you.
Spoken there about pressure, Michael. Obviously, you've seen you put pressure on yourself to deliver. Do you feel it kind of internally or externally in difficult moments like this?
No, I think it just it's there, you know. We're all in this game to win and try and be successful in different ways, whatever that is, week to week. During games, towards the end of the season where we want to be, what league we want to be in. Ultimately, at some point, as I said, we know the situation we're in, and that's why we put ourselves in it, because you want to be tested in a level and be successful and find ways to win, and when you do, it's a terrific feeling, and we need to get back to having more of that.
Yeah, obviously, throughout your period in the game, you've had a lot of experiences, huge games, huge kind of moments in seasons. Does that help you kind of deal with levels of expectation and pressure and tough moments like this?
I think experience generally helps you, whether it's being a positive experience or maybe not so pleasant when you've gone through it, but you can make it a positive one in the end. So I think that certainly helps, whether you realise it or not, as you're going through, whether it's games or periods in the season, for sure. That maybe helps you think a little bit clearly and maybe understand how to navigate through it. There's not always a right or wrong, but certainly experience does help.
In that time, with that experience, you say there's not always a right or wrong, but I guess for you there will be a right way that you've learned over time. Is that the case? Is there a right way?
I think success can come in many different ways, whether that's through a team, whether that's a coach, a manager, styles, personalities, characters, all that, it can come in so many different ways. In the end, it's that mentality to when it counts and when you can make the difference, to be ready and to be positive, even when maybe at times it might not always look so positive. Within yourself, you find that ultimately that mentality to go and make the difference, and something inside you that drives you on to do that.
In your time at Middlesbrough, there's been highs, there's been lows. Does this feel like one of the, particularly with the expectation in mind, one of the kind of toughest periods you've experienced?
Toughest, I think. Listen, we've been near the bottom of the league at times when certain points since I've been here. When I took over, and at a certain point last season, it was certainly wasn't as positive as it is now in terms of league position. So, but I understand the results and how it's been, and I think there's when you're winning, there's a feeling where it's nice. You obviously enjoy that feeling. We all do. That's why we're in it, to support and be involved in football. But there's an element from my point of view when it's times like this where you got to find the answers. It's a new challenge. You got to dig deep. You got to search for new things, search for little tweaks, try and help the players through it. There's a challenge in that I kind of that drives me on to be even more motivated, really, and try and get more out of the situation. And the tougher the times, the more you got to step up and face it. And there's no denying that recently, it's been challenging in certain ways, but we can come out of that. As I've said to you before, it doesn't mean it's this forever. We can find a way of coming out of this and changing things quite quickly.
Yeah, there's a few references that changes and considerations to potentially tweaking things. Given the form and given that a lot of the problems have been a continuation, I guess, throughout the season, is that starting to come into consideration now? Is that we might have to do things a bit differently?
We've done things differently throughout the season, to be honest, in different ways. We prepare for different games in different ways with different players or different ways of playing positions. So it's a constant thing. It's not, we haven't done an exact copy and paste all the way through the season and now we change. It's not how we work, and we'll be constantly assessing that and evolving as we go anyway.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying in that. I think there's a general kind of like an approach to the game, your principles, if you like, that we can all say that you're imprinting on this team. You have done since you've been here. Do you still believe that will work and that is the right way?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, that's not blasé with it. I think we've got to make it work, and I'm fully aware of that. But there's ways of doing that, and there's ways of still being better than we are, and adapting and being flexible. So I'm not. I don't know what's the word. My ego doesn't say that that's the only way, and I'm the right way, and that's how it should be. I think I'm constantly looking for different ways anyway, and I think that's something I'm happy to say. I think that's how it should be. And if we need to tweak certain things, we'll tweak them. If it's a positional, if it's someone changing position, if it's a slight tactical thing, it's something we've done before. We'll do again if we feel it's the right thing to do.
I know we only ran through the injuries on Tuesday, but forgot to ask about Riley McGree. Where's he at the moment?
Yeah, Riley's back on the grass, so he's still he's not training with us yet though.
Yeah, and Amph was, I think he had his first training session.
Yeah, Amph trained the day before the game, yeah, so he's back. He's back and around the group.
Yeah, so he's in contention for the weekend. Yeah, I mean he's had a really good season. Amph. He's in comparison to a couple of frustrating seasons. There was a bit of interest in him in January, we're led to believe. But is it kind of testament to the season he's been having that ultimately the decision was made to keep him here?
There was no decision really, to be honest. It was he's our player, so there was no decision either way. I think he's done well. Amph, he's played a lot. He's done well. He's had a good impact. Unfortunate to get his injury, but he's back now, strong, and it's good to have him back.
Just that, Michael, a couple of weeks ago you used the phrase winning football. You want to play winning football. Obviously at the minute you're not winning as many games as you'd like. With that in mind, like, even though you have a way you want your side to play, do you need to find maybe a short-term fix to win the next game?
I think there's always ways of finding. There's always the short-term fix to find a way of winning the next game. I think there's we don't just assume that. Like I've just said, that there's only one way and we do it the same, and that doesn't change all the way through the season. There's always ways that we're trying to change and tweak things. So there's times we've built up from the back and we've passed it short from the goalkeeper and worked our way through the pitch. There's times where we kicked it longer and played in behind. Or there's always different ways. It might not be as obvious to the eye at times, but there's always different ways of pressing, different ways of defending around the box. There's quite a lot that goes into that, and we got to find that right balance and that perfect kind, or not perfect because it's never perfect, but we've got to find that close to perfect balance to like I said before, about scoring goals and not conceding nowhere near enough.
What do you think are the main problems that need addressing from the last few weeks?
It's conceding goals in moments is definitely something we need to do something about. I think that's pretty obvious. And
how do you do that? Because I guess we've talked about that a lot this season, haven't we? And probably the same issues have cost you throughout the season. So if you haven't been able to get to the bottom of those yet, kind of what gives you the belief that you'll be able to fix them, or you'll be able to find them?
That's what keeps us going. We got to find the answers. We've always got to find the answers, and the answers are there. I fully believe we are capable of doing it. We're not doing it. We haven't done it enough, but I fully believe the answers are there, and we got to find them.
And how do you find them?
That's like saying, how do you do anything? I think it's from what we see, the information we pass on, the work we do with the players, constantly trying to help them, trying to make them understand and put them in situations where they can react in different ways, and that's just part of coaching, and that's why I take the responsibility for whatever little thing happens in a game. It lands with me, and I fully accept that.
Just a couple of little bits. Josh was in the squad last night. Talk about him. How was he impressed? Clearly he's impressed, the fact that he's in there.
Yeah, Josh has done well. He trained with us. Excuse me. He's trained with us over the last week or so, and a couple of weeks, and trained really well. And there was an opportunity to put him on the bench and get him involved with the boys. So it was a good step for him.
Is that perhaps ahead of schedule? Did you expect him to be in a first team squad as quickly?
No, maybe not. I think it's difficult to know what to expect, especially when you bring younger players in, of how they adapt and how quickly. It's still very early for Josh, but it was certainly a good step for him.
And could he play a part between now and the end of the season, or is that?
No, any young player could play a part. It depends on a lot of things, obviously, in terms of positions opening up and for whatever reason. But he's trained well when he's trained with us. So I'm really pleased with him.
And just finally, just ask you about Tommy. How's his hamstring? Because I know he's been in the squad now and come off the bench a couple of games. But do you still need to manage him carefully on the back of his?
Yeah, we that's part of the balance. We got to be a little bit careful when's the right time for him to be able to start a game, and he's come through both games really well. So that's a positive.
Early on, you played him kind of just off Manu when he was here. Could that work with Kel?
Yeah, there's absolutely no reason why not. I think both good players, as we have got with the forward players, they can play and adapt and play. And we've had different pairings and different relationships through the season, and that's definitely something that they could do, no problem.
And Tommy strikes me as a type of character who, after Manu going, will kind of love the challenge of stepping up and being the main man. Is that fair? Is that the type of character he is?
Yeah, I think that's the type of character you have to be, to play here. And going back to earlier on about talking about pressure and expectation, and you got to thrive off it. It's such a good position to be in, to have that opportunity to go and produce something special. And Tommy's frustrated because he's had a couple of injuries this year. But in terms of goals and being on the pitch and minutes to goal ratio, he's done great, and he'll certainly be looking to do more of that in the coming weeks.
Hi Michael, given the run of bad results at the moment, back at home this weekend, if things aren't going right, there is a chance that the crowd may be getting anxious early on in the game. How brave will you and the players have to be this weekend going into a potential situation like that?
Yeah, listen, I totally understand the situation. I get it. I've been in football a long time. I understand what results do and the feelings that it can create both ways. That's something you've got to accept, and it's up to us to put things into the game and with the energy and the performance level for the supporters to be able to get behind us and create that energy and that support and that noise and that atmosphere in the stadium. And we'd obviously love them to do that. We need the support. The boys thrive off the support. And from my side of things, it's perspective. We're in a real kind of situation where we haven't got enough points and we want more points. But as I've said it before, said it to Craig before, it's not the end story. This is not the end game for us. We can come through this and we can find the next result, and whether that's Saturday or that's after we fully believe we can have a really strong finish to the season.
And obviously I think everyone would love to, certainly connected with Middlesbrough, would love to see you go out, win 3-4, 5-0, but would you just be happy with one going in off someone's backside in the last minute and just 1-0, 3 points?
No, we'll all love to win in a great way and score loads of goals. It's not always possible, and Watford are a good team as well, so I'm not going into this game with anything taken for granted. But sure, listen, a win at this stage, it'll give everyone a really good feeling.
And it feels like a sort of must-win for both. Yourself, push for promotion, but there's been a bit of speculation with Tom Cleverley, obviously a former teammate of yourself over recent weeks. Huge game for both managers and teams, isn't it?
Yeah, it's big. It's an important game, and I get that. I understand that it's an important game for many reasons. We're being around each other in the league, similar kind of ways through the season, and similar probably aspirations of what we want to get out of the season. So it's an important game for that.
Sorry, Mike, just one moment to ask. Alex Bangura, obviously Darren, I know you mentioned the other day, but Alex has been registered in the squad, and Sol as well. Could those both be back before the end of the season? Yeah,
there's a potential. Yeah, well, listen, it's not going to be in the next few weeks or the next month, but certainly towards the end. Yeah, Alex is he's very, very early stages getting back on the grass again, so that's a real positive for him, and good to know that things are going well for him.